Would you rather work with someone who is very confident in what they can do, or with someone who seems pretty unsure of themselves? Thinking about this changed everything for me when I first started my business. If I'm honest, when I first started, I was really self-conscious and I was much more preoccupied with myself rather than the people that I actually wanted to work with and to help. And of course, ultimately that was the end goal, to help people and to help them transform their lives. But more than that, at that early stage, I was just very self-conscious. I didn't feel comfortable putting myself out there. I didn't feel comfortable selling or even asking people to work with me. And the problem with that is that people pick up on the energy that you are giving off. It's a completely subconscious thing. You wouldn't even be aware necessarily that that's how you're coming across. But if you think about when you first walk into a room, you can immediately sense, whether the atmosphere is buzzing and everyone's having a good time, or whether there's a bit of tension in the air and things are a bit silent and awkward. You are automatically getting feedback from your environment and the energy that other people are putting out. And even if you're not physically present with someone, it's the same thing. There is still an energy that you will get from them and what they are sharing. And what I was producing at that point, it didn't get me very far. Initially, I wasn't feeling confident in my value and my ability to help people. And even though people might not have consciously realized it, they could sense my self-consciousness and my hesitation, and also just probably a bit of neediness in really wanting to work with people, but not feeling fully confident in showing up in that way. And that energy wouldn't have felt good to them. They might not have been able to put a name to it or specifically said why they didn't want to work with me, but they would have picked up on that lack of confidence, and so it just wouldn't have felt like a good fit. But once I became aware that this was how I was feeling and how I was showing up as a result, the solution was pretty simple, but it was incredibly effective, because I stopped focusing so much on the things that I was doing and looked much more at who I was being and the way I was presenting myself. So I started to think about, what do I believe about myself and what do I believe about myself in business? And thinking about, am I showing up as someone who knows that they can help people and provide real value? And at that point, the answer was no. No, I was not showing up in that way. But the moment that I recognized that, I could start to address it and step into a version of myself, someone who believed in the work that she was doing and showing up with certainty in the value that she could provide. And that changed everything. And I wasn't winging any of this. I took the time to look at the beliefs that I had and reprogram that and decide what I wanted to believe instead, in a way that really supported who I wanted to become. And as a result of doing that, everything changed because I was showing up differently. I felt much more in control naturally. I stopped second guessing myself, and people just started to respond to me in a much more positive way. Things just became easier. The thing is, you can't behave in a way that you don't believe. Your beliefs have to come first because they shape your identity and who you believe you are. And that informs the way you show up and how you take action. And if you don't fully believe in yourself, it will always show. Even if you are not conscious that you're doing it, that energy will come across. But when you can shift your beliefs first, the confidence becomes natural and the results will just start to flow as a result. Learning how to shift your beliefs and your identity is such a transformational thing that you can do, especially if you are tired of feeling stuck and you want to be able to show up with real confidence and clarity about what you're doing and where you want to get to. I have put together the exact process that I use to help me transform my mindset and my business. So you can go to the description box below to take a look.